Lost in Shadow is a platform puzzle game that has you guiding a character's shadow across a series of esoteric environments. Instead of traveling in the foreground as in most side-scrolling platformers, you're primarily relegated to the background, providing a twist on a familiar genre. Will you and your shadow form an inseparable bond, or is the mere sight of this game enough to trigger 6 more weeks of winter? Lost in Shadow opens with a hooded executioner walking over to a boy magically suspended in the air. The executioner then literally cleaves the shadow from the boy's body and throws it off the edge of one seriously tall tower. Why he did this, who the boy is, and why it's better to toss a shadow off a building instead of a body are complete mysteries. Your goal as the Shadow is to journey back to the seriously tall tower to reunite with your corporal form. While the game also has you discovering memories, they don't trigger any revealing cutscenes about how the boy got to where he is, where this place is, or any other details. In this way, the game misses an opportunity to draw you deeper into its world. Instead, the memories you find are little more than text-based hints about what to do in a particular scene. Those expecting answers will be disappointed. With its stylistic use of light, Lost in Shadow immediately draws comparisons to Xbox Live Arcade's Limbo. Both feature silent protagonists, a prevalence of mechanical contraptions, a mysterious world, and even spiders. Yet while Limbo was dark and ominous, Lost in Shadow is ethereal. The world is more colorful, almost painterly, yet at the same time lonely and uninviting. There's no sense of dread, no sense of urgency, and ultimately, no sense of purpose. The focus is squarely on exploration, which involves many of the contraptions and conventions inherent to platform games, such as collapsing floors, rising tiles, and spinning gears. The pace is slow, your jumps are generous, and there's a whole lot of backtracking as you progress. The game is broken up into a series of 70-plus areas that follow the same format. Find and touch 3 pillars called monitor eyes in order to advance. Instead of following a linear path to the exit, you'll have to explore the surrounding area, hit switches, and manipulate the environment to a degree. Since the puzzles are actually quite easy and the action isn't that intense, Lost in Shadow will be unsatisfying for hardcore fans of either style of play. The gameplay in Lost in Shadow involves leaping across shadows of platforms while searching for the pillars that unlock the wall leading to the next area. You stumble across memories, also represented by stationary pillars, which add some heft to your shadow while increasing your health. Your character also earns experience points over time by engaging in combat with shadow creatures, but the battles aren't really a focus here. Actions are limited to jumping, ducking, and lunging forward with a blade. The camera can be disorienting at times, as it seems the developers were more interested in what looks cool than what is beneficial to the player. Puzzles generally involve manipulating objects in the foreground, so they create scalable shadows in the background. This is done by pointing the Wii remote toward an object, holding down a button, and waiting for your silent fairy companion, called a spangle, to light up like a firefly. Then you simply tap a button to rotate, spin, or lift the object. You're also able to swing lamps in the foreground to stretch out the shadows, enabling your character to easily cross an area, or push a turnstile-like device to swing parts of the environment around. These sequences are neat to watch, but not exactly taxing as brain teasers. If you suddenly come to a dead end, it just means you have to whip out the remote to interact with the scenery. Then you simply go along on your way. Easily the most striking aspect of Lost in Shadow is its presentation, which for the most part has you controlling the protagonist from an angled perspective while staring at the background. Outdoor environments have a washed-out look from the sun, forcing you to squint, while the cave-like shadow corridors are so murky, it seems like you're staring through the eyes of someone in a haze. There's no dialogue, minimal sound effects, and music that's best described as ambient. Director George Lucas famously said that a special effect without a story is a pretty boring thing. A special effect without strong gameplay is also a boring thing, which is Lost in Shadow's greatest fault. All Lost in Shadow has going for it is a gimmick, and a few recycled elements for more memorable games. It's an interesting premise, to be sure, the one that relies on style over substance.